Does anyone have any questions for Dr. Bushman?
I'd like to know what you think happened to the other artifacts, the box, the sword, the other found. Were those given to the angel or some other means of special?
No evidence of them existing anywhere. No evidence of them existing anywhere today that I know of. Any of you have hints where the there are people who have tried to make earrings of them and use them, but none of the, and the seer stone still exists, of course. So there are little items, but nothing that came out of the box itself.
What weight do you place on Josiah Stoll's testimony about the appearance, his handling of the plates, the greenish appearance of the plates during that period of time?
Repeat the question.
The question is, what about Josiah Stoll's description of the plates that gave them a greenish look? There are lots of descriptions. I read Martin Harris's just as a sample. But you know, he says the pile of plates is 4 inches thick, others say 6 inches. So there's all these sort of variations. My goal is not to find out what they really look like, because I don't think that can be done, but simply the magnetism of the plates that everyone wanted to try to describe them in one way or another. So I'll leave it to you to decide. Pick the one that you want.
It's a modern day attempt, not because the gold would have been too heavy. If it was just pure gold.
Yeah, the gold would have been too heavy.
It would just be.
Yeah. That could be, but the most interesting modern gold plates I've seen were found, according to the story, I think it's probably true, in a Chinese tomb, and they have written on them about 2/3 of the Quran. So sort of a 14th century tomb, and the plates probably were a gift of Arab merchants coming to China to trade. And I have seen pictures of these plates, and they're about the same size as our gold plates, bound together in a certain way. But there's a picture of a man holding 24 of these in his hand like this. They were so light. It was able to make them fine enough that by engraving on one side, they could still get an awful lot of writing on it, a lot of the Quran. What we don't know is the thickness of individual sheets. And the Smith describes them as like thumbing the pages of a book. Others say they're like tin plates. So there's a difference on sort of the timber of these plates.
Has anything ever been written about the stone box?
I don't know of any research on the stone box. There may be some of the people who work on Latin American archaeology who try to find stone boxes other places. The best thing, of course, is Oliver Cowdery's extensive, detailed description of the stone box. Yes?
Was there anything ever written about the actual presence later, people visiting it?
Oh, yes. There's a lot of talk about searching the hill for the plates, and David Whitmer said that they actually stumbled across the stone blocks. So that there's sort of a lore, the hunting for the cave in the hill. There's actually some guys who've excavated the cave nearby that they think maybe Joseph Smith used at one time. Yes?
So there was evidence or there is history to verify that the stone box and the room that fell in wood returned to the angel?
They were not returned. No, I don't think there's very good evidence they were not returned. The stone box is not returned. There's the contents of the box that were returned, the plates and the sword and so on. That's it. Yes, in the back. Yeah, David Whitmer tells the story of his mother being showed them by an angel. It's a story that's accepted by Utah Mormons. I don't know how it goes down in Independence, but I did not include it in Rough Stone Rolling, and I don't really have a good reason for not including it. David tells it, but he tells it at a time when he's trying to verify the importance of the Whitmer clan and himself in all the early stories. And it doesn't have much confirmation that I know of, and it's told late. So I would not discount it, but I just was a little reluctant in including it in the story. The new History Saints does include that story in the, so the historians in Salt Lake City at the Church History Department do accept it.
What extent do you see the belief in the gold plates or the gold plates and the litmus test of kind of belief in the divine, as you talk about here? Does it continue to be kind of a litmus test, or other aspects of belief in connection with the divine that don't have to have such artifacts or ways for us to connect with the divine that continue to energize our movements?
Yeah, the question is, what is the status of belief in the gold plates as sort of the litmus test of commitment, belief, versus other kinds of experiences? There are a number of those going. There's so much debate about the status of the Book of Mormon as an ancient text versus a modern text. And I think in those debates, when people are trying to place one another, there are a variety of questions that are asked. One is, do you believe there were Nephites? But another is, do you believe there are gold plates? And that stands for, there was a miraculous event. There was an intervention from heaven. So I think it's still a usable thing. If you ask, do you believe in the Book of Mormon, there's so much ambiguity about what the word believing the Book of Mormon means. It's not very useful, and this is a way to go beyond to sort of test the kind of belief that people are entertaining. Yes.
So, if I understand some of your main points here in this discussion, is that the plates seem to act as this vehicle through which men are invited into conversation with the divine. The plates were devised to connect us with God, and I'm curious if you see that in other ways in Joseph's work. How else do you see it? It seems as though Joseph is trying to connect people to God, and I'm just curious if you see other examples where either a revelation or something that he's doing is creating space where he's inviting people to connect with God.
Okay, the question is, if you see the plates as kind of a bridge between heaven and earth, are there other kinds of bridges that he offers, other ways? Well, of course, that's what he's all about, is connecting people with God. For the Utah Church, the temple, its whole point is to bring you into the presence of God. The question for me is how portable these devices are. The gold plate is used by people because it's there, it's sort of preeminent in the landscape when you look at Mormonism. The other, I'm not, maybe the idea of a prophetic voice but there are a lot of prophetic voices. Joseph Smith is just one among many. The gold plates is sort of our distinctive contribution to instruments for connecting heaven and earth. Okay, one more question. I think we'll be through.
So when we were talking about gold plates as an element of the material world, the natural world, and if we had it be like an artifact, so I was thinking about the seer stone. Do you see that reflection as a same sort of bridge, or is it more like an artifact, or how do you think it acts in our imagination?
How does the seer stone act in our imagination? I don't think it's as potent as the plates. The plates, are so miraculous in every way. Their configurations, their material, it's just an impossible thing. So it almost requires miraculous intervention to even exist. The seer stone, especially, think of it now. The seer stone means a lot to Joseph Smith, but now it just sits and people pick it up, they look in it, nothing happens. It's just a pretty stone that was found in a well somewhere. And so it evokes the possibility, but just lacks the potency of the plates. Well, there may be other questions. Happy to talk to you afterwards. But thank you very much for coming. I really enjoyed talking to you.